Hello, everyone, and welcome to 10 Ways to Improve Your LinkedIn Job Search. My name is Sue Ellson, and I'm an independent LinkedIn specialist based in Melbourne. And I look forward to lots of questions in the chat and lots of engagement with this webinar. I know it's only 30 minutes, but I've compacted it all into this PowerPoint, which is available on my website. I'm going to be including specific tips, relevant examples, and I'd love to invite you to think of 3 things from this presentation that you can do within 3 hours from now. Because the reality is, if you don't do something within 3 days, you'll probably do nothing from the webinar. So I'm definitely going to encourage you to do that. I'm going to be going through multiple concurrent job search strategies, updating your LinkedIn profile, reconnecting with people you know, following target companies, filling in the open to work section, filling in the providing services section, utilising the job tab, finding referrers, follow-up, and targeting specific recruiters and why for these things as well. So for those of you who don't know me, I started my career in banking at Westpac in Adelaide, South Australia. I worked there for 11 years in a lot of different roles, moved to Melbourne, got a job, found out I was pregnant, got sacked, and basically haven't had a real job since 1994. But over the years, I created my first website, newcomersnetwork.com, in 2001, and I joined LinkedIn in 2003. I'm member number 77832. There's now over 1 billion members on LinkedIn worldwide. And I'm also a member of a variety of professional associations. You can learn more about me on my website and find out about my services and pricing. And just because you've turned up live, I'm also going to be sending through these documents. And one of them should be very relevant for some of you. It's the sample resume layout that is applicant tracking system friendly. So just for showing up, I will be sending those to you. If you're listening to the recording, you can access those via sueelson.com/latest-offer. I'm also hosting some live LinkedIn workshops here in Canterbury in Melbourne on Saturday the 7th and the 21st of December for 3 hours. It's really hands-on. You actually get to make the changes as we go about it. So yeah, that's really, really helpful. And I also invite you to keep up to date by following me on social media. Now you can see LinkedIn is my preferred platform of choice with over 25,000 connections and 29,000 followers. YouTube is coming along, LinkedIn page, Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, and of course I've got a LinkedIn newsletter and an email newsletter. So feel free to scan that code and follow any of the platforms that are of interest. And also click the notification bell if you'd like to receive the updates. I promise I won't post more than 3 times a week. It's usually once or twice, just to give you a bit of an idea, but it's always with educational information. Now, news. My big achievement for 2024 is to go on video. And you'll see it's in the same place I am now. Just put the camera on my desk from my phone and away I go for less than 60 seconds. And I share little snippets. So it's almost once a week, sort of every week and a half. If you'd like to see any of those and get some quick fixes, go to sueelson.com/linkedin-shorts-videos. And for those of you who don't know, I've written 5 books and 2 of them are on LinkedIn. This one was a real brain dump, 120 Ways to Achieve Your Purpose with LinkedIn. And my latest book, LinkedIn for Me and My Career or Business, is the how-to. It's all my methodology, step by step. You just turn the page, do this, turn the page, do that, and you will end up with a gold star LinkedIn profile and LinkedIn presence. You can find my books at sueelson.com or 120wayspublishing.com. I've also written an online course that goes with the book, and it has all the video instructions on how to do it. There's also a quick start program if you want to do sort of the really quick stuff first. And it includes my setup, shine, and surprise methodology. That's available on my website as well. So as per every webinar that we go to, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land and where we're all based, but pop your questions in the chat, look at my website. I'd love to know what is most helpful to you from this webinar. And also, I would love you to say thank you, not just in the chat. I haven't had a Google review for a couple of months. So if somebody is willing to give me a Google review, I'd be super excited about that. Other options are just to endorse me for my skills on LinkedIn or write a recommendation or do a Facebook or online review. So they're all ways to say thank you. I think a lot of us write reviews when we're unhappy, but it's a really good practice to write reviews and thank you notes when you have something good happen in your work or career or business. So, question for you who are here, what sort of job or work are you trying to secure? Number one, any job as soon as possible. Number two, something better than what you have now. Please put your number in the chat. That will guide the examples that I give you. Maybe you're looking for a career change. Not sure. You need to speak to a career specialist to help you work out what you'd like to do next. Some of them use some assessment tools. I use a little mind map exercise, or some other thing that you would like to get out of LinkedIn or even out of this webinar today. I would love to know. So let's have a look what we've got in the chat. Mostly number two, something better than what you have now. That's interesting. Yes, at the end of the year, I think it's a good time to reflect on that, isn't it? And not sure as well. Yes, I can understand that feeling. A career change. Yes, look, this is a really interesting one because I had a friend who was doing one particular industry and then wanted to change to a completely different one and was concerned about their salary dropping with that. And just by doing some quick micro credentials, it actually meant that they could transfer into a same level pay job in a completely different industry just by doing micro credentials, short courses. So yeah, don't underestimate that. And we've also got Andrew who wants to be headhunted. Woohoo! Yes, Andrew, I attract lots of opportunities. And recently I was identified via over 100 people did AI search results and looked for LinkedIn specialists, and all those results were amalgamated together. And I am equal 6 in the world in AI chat results. So that was pretty exciting. So I'm the only Australian in that list. And that's because I put a lot of content out there. And so people just automatically find me. But I also turn up live. I've been out at a networking meeting this morning. So thank you for those contributions. Don't forget, questions at any time, you can make them to everyone in the chat or you can make them just directly to me, and I'll also open up the floor at the end of the presentation as well. Okay, number one, multiple concurrent strategies. Now, a lot of people think that looking for work is looking for ads, applying for those roles and competing with 300 other applicants. I don't believe that's the best way to do it. Nobody can tell you how many jobs are not advertised, but I've heard estimates go right up to 90% of jobs are never advertised. So if you're already looking at the jobs that are advertised, you're really missing out on those extra opportunities. Don't forget that if you go to a recruiter and say, you should want my resume and promote me to your clients, well, you're not paying the recruiter, but the client is paying the recruiter. So unless that recruiter is specializing in your field and wants a little gene pool of candidates, they're probably not going to be as interested in talking to you unless you say to them, look, I'll pay a consulting fee and can you help me find a job? Now, I have worked with a lot of people who have found it challenging to find work. New to Australia, returning to Australia, skilled migrants without any local experience. I've had parents who've been out of the workforce for a while, people who've got to the end of their career and everything's dried up, all sorts of challenges that people have faced. And I believe the 3 best ways to get work are through networking, referrals, and voluntary work. Now, if you already have some experience, you don't necessarily need to do the voluntary work, but networking where you go out and meet people and you ask them to refer you on, I find is definitely the best way. And I'll be giving you some examples later. You also need to tailor every application for the role that you're seeking. And if you're not getting interviews, it means whatever you're doing to apply for a job is not working. So don't beat yourself up. Just know that if you're not getting interviews, there's something not working in that process. And if you're not getting a job after the interview, it means that they didn't see you as a fit for that organisation. And it could be for any number of reasons. They'll give you reasons. They'll say, oh, no, you didn't have any local experience. Well, why did they interview you? If they say, oh, well, we ended up with an internal hire. Well, why did they waste your time? Like, let's just forget every single reason they gave you for missing out on the job and just go back into the process, refine the process and keep carrying on. But how does this all relate to LinkedIn? Well, essentially, if you've got a LinkedIn profile and you are not getting at least 100 views per 90 days, and at least 50 appearances in search results, then your LinkedIn profile is not helping you with your job search. So I'll be giving you some tips on how to do that. Don't rely on just applying for those advertised roles. What you want to do is you want the recruiter to find you, like Andrew said, get headhunted. And that means making sure that your LinkedIn profile is optimized. There's some more job search strategies available via that link. So number 2, update your LinkedIn profile. Now, I've mentioned a lot of these in my previous LinkedIn Insight webinars. You can change your LinkedIn URL to just your name, which will optimize your name in online search results. Your headline, which is directly underneath your name. You need to have that full 3.5 lines worth of keywords. No keywords repeated, because if you want to get those appearances in search results, you've got to have the keywords in there. And all of your job titles should not just be project manager or senior project manager or whatever it is. It should be senior project manager perhaps, and then all the other words related to that role. So again, the number 1 field for appearing in search results is the headline, and the number 2 field is current and past job titles. So you need to fill in all the sections, and the algorithm appears to prefer people who are currently working. So if you are not currently working, I suggest you add in an experience called career research dash. Here I've got senior project manager, construction, commercial property, infrastructure builds. No words are repeated, but this is going to help you appear in search results. And then when the person looks at it, they know that you're available and ready for work. You choose various in the company name, but you do not select it from the drop-down box because you don't want to be associated with this random company. And then use the greater location rather than just the specific location if it's in the LinkedIn database. And this will help you appear in search results. Now, I am going to remind you that if you're committed to this process and you really want to update your LinkedIn profile to the Sue Ellson standard, it's probably going to take around 10 hours to do. So I don't recommend you do it all in one day. I recommend 2 hours a day, 5 days a week for whatever job search strategies, multiple, that you are doing. The rest of the time you can spend relaxing and enjoying the break between work. So, but be committed. You've got to do those 2 hours every day. You can't do 4 hours today and nothing tomorrow. I really want to encourage you to keep that momentum up and do something every day. And then if you'd like more tips on how to improve your LinkedIn profile, you can follow that link. The next thing is to reconnect with people you know. So obviously, if I'm saying networking and referrals, I'm going to obviously remind you to connect with the people you already know or people you've worked with previously. So sometimes we leave a job and forget to connect with the people on LinkedIn. So definitely reach out to all those previous work colleagues and invite them to connect with you on LinkedIn. There may be other people in your profession or industry, or if you're a member of an association body, you might know some people there, so you can invite those people to connect with you on LinkedIn. People you know personally. So I once had a student ask me, should I connect with my friends' parents? And I said, absolutely, because they could be mentors or mentees with reverse mentoring. So everyone you meet personally and professionally, I do recommend that you connect with them on LinkedIn. Also, what about the people you've already written recommendations for? Maybe it's time to reconnect with them, and also look at the people who have provided skill endorsements. So you can go through and see those people who are slightly more engaged with your career and perhaps reach out to them. Now, if you haven't done it recently, I also recommend that you click on that link and download your data so that you can see a list of all of your connections, first name, last name, current job, current company and date you connected, and then remind yourself, oh my goodness, there's 4 people I used to work with and I haven't got in my network here. So reach out and connect with those. Number 4, following target individuals or companies. So maybe you know a decision maker in an organization where you'd like to work. Well, are they connected with you on LinkedIn? And if you would like to work in that organization, I encourage you to follow it. Now, I know for a fact a major bank here in Australia, if you are already following the bank and they're looking for a candidate for a role, they will look to see if you are already following that bank's LinkedIn profile. their company page. So please look in your local area and try and find any organisations where you would like to work. Make sure you are following them. And then there's also a little notification bell. If you choose all new posts, then you're more likely to see their content in your LinkedIn newsfeed. And you might also decide to engage with more of their digital content as well. But I love working close to home, not just from home, close to home. So for those of you considering a career change, don't just assume you have to travel some long distance necessarily to get the type of work you're looking for. Look at ways to find those opportunities where you don't have such a lengthy commute, or that are more connected to the community where you are based. So there's a couple of additional links here on how to improve your LinkedIn career results and my advice on working closer to home. Now, number 5, fill in open to work section. This is a fairly obvious section from the open button on your LinkedIn profile. You can choose 5 job titles, 5 on-site and 5 off-site locations where you would like to work. You can set up job alerts, and when you turn this on, the open to work, you can have it visible for recruiters only or all LinkedIn members. Now, if you choose all LinkedIn members, you'll end up with this green frame around your face. And I feel that makes you look a little bit desperate sometimes. So I'm not a huge fan of that one. I normally just tick the top box, recruiters only, and job alerts so that you can be advised when new jobs are advertised. And when you apply for a job online through LinkedIn, if it does not send you off to the company website to fill in another login details, it will allow you to attach one document to your application via LinkedIn. So instead of just attaching your standard resume or even your edited resume, I recommend that you create a document called your application document for that particular role. And the first page is a little cover letter, all tailored for that role. And then the rest of the pages in that application document are your tailor-made resume for that role. You save it with the date back to front, the name of the company you're going for, the job title, your name and application. And then that way, when you look at the file name, you can see, oh, right, this is the application I sent off for XYZ job on such and such a date. So putting those details in the file name means that if another role very similar to that comes up, you can just save as, change the file name, and then save it for that new organisation. So don't forget, there's lots of sections in that jobs tab on LinkedIn. And this link here goes into more detail. It was a really, really popular article I wrote this year on why your job application was unsuccessful. So that will give you some more tips as well. Now, don't forget, pop your questions in the chat because they will be coming, and any question is fine. I'm happy to go in any direction you'd like. Okay, number 6, fill in providing services. Now, for those of you who've only ever had a job and haven't been out there freelancing, portfolio, career, small business, side hustle, whatever, you can fill in this section called fill in providing services. You might think, well, I'm not really providing a service, but I want you to appear in more search results. So in this section, you can include up to 10 services, and sometimes getting a little contract gig will lead to an employment opportunity. So that's another way to think about it. You can include a description in this section. You can add in media images. You can ask for reviews. So this is a little screenshot from my services page. You can see those options there. And I also recommend that via LinkedIn, you do a search. And when you do that search, you will see all the categories of searches that people can do on LinkedIn. And so that will give you clues how to optimize your LinkedIn profile so that you end up in search results in the future. So if you want to check out my services page, you can click that link. And then this is my opinion piece on the future of work not being jobs, but work. And we'll have to juggle multiple bits of work coming in, and we'll be using technology to attract that aligned work. And we're definitely seeing more of that since COVID occurred. Now, number 7, utilize the job tab. So I've already mentioned the jobs tab on LinkedIn, And there is a range of preferences that you can fill in the back end of LinkedIn. You can see all the jobs you've saved that are in progress that you've applied for or that you've archived. And there's this fantastic section called interview prep. And these sort of common questions, and you can practice giving answers. It's a really interactive space. So if you didn't know about that, you might want to check that out. But I would also suggest that you look at other forms of interview preparation, because some jobs expect you to sit in front of a camera and answer a question within a set time frame, and then it's moved on to the next, and you didn't have any chance to prepare, and it's just talking to a robot. I mean, it takes a certain skill to get around that. So you might need to find out, if you're applying for a role, whether there's anything else that you might need in that in that area to train yourself up. Now, we've got a question. Sometimes looking for a job near home does not match with the current job description, and trying a new one will not count the experience of current one except transferable skills. Okay, so sometimes when you move further away from a corporate environment, the details of a job description may be more or less accurate than perhaps one that's in a very structured corporate environment. And I know that can be challenging. Sometimes you might perceive that some of those more executive type placements are higher paying, but then you've got the commute or the stress or something or another else. So I think when you go job searching, you need to look at the pros and cons for every opportunity. So if you live an hour and a half away from work, and that's 3 hours of your day, is the extra increase in salary worth that 3 hours of your life that you're spending traveling? And how are you using that time? Are you resting? Are you doing some personal development? Are you planning for the next thing? So I think that one of the most important aspects of a role is the cultural fit. So I would suggest that you target organisations where you would like to be able to work, because all of our skills, we can acquire new skills most of the time, unless we're going to be a brain surgeon or maybe a rocket scientist. But the rest of us, most of those skills we can acquire on the job. So try and find the right fit culturally can be really, really helpful. And that's why I love networking and referrals, because nobody's going to refer you into a job if they don't think you'll fit there in that culture. So hopefully that will help you there. All right, let's move on to number 8, finding referrers. So I'm going to start this little example with a story. And a person came to me, and he'd moved here from Paris in France, and he came as a partner to his spouse, who had an executive role. So she was working, and he had a part-time job in the company from France where he was already working. So he just had a part-time job, but my job was to help him find full-time work. So I did that. And we found out, because he was a management accountant in Australia, most large organisations want a certified practicing accountant before they'll even consider for them for the role. All the recruiters said you must be CPA. But because he was from France, he didn't have a CPA qualification. But I knew he would be more than capable of doing a management accounting role in Australia. So what we did is we networked away through LinkedIn, and we found someone who also spoke French, who worked in a large consulting firm and who travelled the world for work and life. And I got them introduced, and they met. And then this person in the consulting firm referred my client into a manufacturing firm, and the Parisian man was perfect for the role. He went for the interview, he got the job, everybody was happy. And then he looked at the whole thing and he said, you know what? I'd actually, while my wife is working crazy hours as a very senior executive, we've got these 3 children, and we want to go backwards and forwards to France. We want to explore a bit of Australia. You know what? I'm quite happy with the part-time job I've already got. And he didn't take the full-time job. And you might say, well, what was the point of all of that? Well, the point is it was difficult for him to get work. And by using a range of different techniques, I was able to find someone in a similar industry, with a similar profession, a similar background, similar work locations, and he was able to give that referral. So the other tip I'm going to recommend is association mentoring programs. So if you're a member of a professional association, most of them have a mentoring program that's often free. And so that's another way to do it. And then when you reach out to people, just ask them if you can chat to them for 10 minutes just to gather some information. Don't say, hi, my name is Sue and I want a job tomorrow. That's probably not going to go down so great. But if you say, hi, my name's Sue, I'm looking for a role in such and I believe you're an expert in this area. Would you have a few minutes, no more than 10, to just give me some clues on some ways that I could go about getting that, or any people that you think I should speak to? So you're gathering information, you're trying to get referrals, and that will then lead on. Now, the other way to do it, if you want to do it online, is you can do a search on LinkedIn, but you run out of searches eventually. You can do a Google Advanced search, put in all the keywords in quotation marks in the top box, then check linkedin.com as the site box and choose Advanced Search, and that's an unlimited number of searches you can do. And then there's also that networking link there. Now, 9, follow up. So I'm a huge fan of saying thank you. If you send someone a card, they're much more likely to keep it and remember you. So don't just send an email thanks or a text thanks. See if you can pop something in the post, because people are more likely to keep it and remember you. And if you do get a referral, so say you're referred to Mark and by Roger. Roger said, go and talk to Mark. So you go and talk to Mark. What you should do then is go back to Roger and say, here's what happened with Mark. So go back to Roger and tell him what happened, and again say thank you. So even if it didn't lead to anything else, you still go back to the referrer and say thank you. And if you're really committed to a job search, you would create a little spreadsheet and you'll put everybody in, the date you contacted them, their name, their LinkedIn URL, what's happened, did they contact you, did you contact them, and diary for follow-up, and then pop your date in the column for when you've done the follow-up. So, and then if you're a member of a professional association, I also recommend that you find ways to support your profession or industry, and there's lots of tips in that link there. So the final one, number 10, is targeting specific recruiters. So as I said earlier, recruiters are working on behalf of the client, not on behalf of the candidate. So if you are going to reach out to any of these recruiters, look for those who've already had at least 3 years of experience, because it means they just didn't come in and come out, just to try and make money out of it. They're genuine, or more likely to be genuine. Ideally, they should specialize in your area of expertise, your profession or industry. And you would also look at the search filters on LinkedIn, because if you look at those, you'll know that recruiters all have all of those options as well and more. So that will give you clues as to how a recruiter would find you. So if you don't have those details in your LinkedIn profile, you just won't appear in search results. So make sure you do that. And if you want to see how people work from the recruiter's perspective, you can click that link there. So they're the 10 things of how to improve your LinkedIn job search. I actually think there's a lot more than 10 in there. But you've turned up and you've got to this point, so you've had the benefit of way more than 10 ways to improve your LinkedIn job search. I would love to know in the chat or when we unmute what's been most helpful to you, but also what are the 3 things you're going to do as a result of attending this webinar or watching the recording. Now, this is my, I think, 38th webinar. I've been running them every month since October 2021. So there's all the past ones, and you can watch all of them for free. You can check out all the slides. They're all available on that link there down the bottom. And don't forget, there's the online course that goes through my entire book. The downloads will be coming to you if you want to see me live this Saturday the 7th, or in the following 2 weeks, 21st of December, 3 hours, Saturday morning here in Canterbury. And you can work on your LinkedIn profile with a maximum of 4 people. Don't forget to follow me on social media. Lots more resources on my website, including publications, presentations, podcasts, television interviews, and videos. And finally, if you can do a Google review, I just want one, please, just one person give me a Google review and change it to 149, and complete the exit survey when you leave via Zoom. And what I will do now is open up to questions. So if you don't want to have your face on the recording, make sure you turn your camera off now. So we'll just end the slideshow there and stop sharing. And also, if you want me to show you anything on LinkedIn, let me know that as well. So do we have anybody who'd like to raise their hand or unmute and ask a question? And if we don't have any takers, I will stop the recording and then let you ask the question without it being recorded. But bear in mind, most people are probably going to have the same question. So I really appreciate anybody who does ask a question or would like to share some feedback on the webinar. Oh no, we've got a quiet group today. All right, well, what is an informational interview? Thank you for that question. All right, so an informational interview is like when you contact someone and you don't say, hi, my name's Sue, give me a job. It's, hi, my name's Sue, and I found your details on LinkedIn or wherever you got them, or was referred to you by somebody else. I'd just like some more information on job opportunities in this area, or work opportunities, or information on people I should contact in this industry. I'm looking for referrals. Is there anything you'd suggest? So people are most, comfortable with sharing information, but they don't like it when they're asked to do something. So that's what I call an informational interview. So hopefully that helps. How to find the recruiters in your field of interest. So if you look for job ads in your area of interest, you'll often see the names of recruiters or recruitment companies that are advertising those roles. So that's a pretty good clue to find out who is doing that. If you can please show how to search effectively on LinkedIn, how to connect to recruiters who are actively hiring. You might like to let me know, Kashif, which industry you're looking for so we can make this more relevant. So I will show you how to search on LinkedIn. So first of all, there's this search box up the top. By the way, this is my daughter's new business, Source for Me. So if you're looking for any print promotional display products, check out Carmen's website there. That's brand new business. Okay, so here's the search box. So I'll just see if you popped in the chat your industry, information technology, network engineer. All right, so let's look for network engineer, or maybe IT, network engineer. So when we do this, it automatically does a search, and we could look for people, posts, jobs, groups, companies, schools, courses, events, products, services, which is that open to providing services section. And then there's all filters. So you can see here just from people, Anthony. Now you might want to say recruiter as well. So they're an experienced recruitment leader, empowering business. Now that could be someone. I'm not going to go through and look at all of these, but what I would normally do is check out all the results, scroll through these, decide which ones are of interest. Then what I would do is I would right click and choose open in a new tab for any that we're interested in. Somebody in Russia, that's probably not going to be too helpful. Right click, open in a new tab. And then I would go through and look at each person. So we look at Phil, he's based in Sydney. I don't know where you're looking for a job, but sometimes someone in Sydney can refer to somebody in Melbourne. And they've been there 2 months, but they founded that organisation. But they've been here 2 months, they've been there for 3 years. So they've definitely been in recruitment for quite a while. And they've been in a senior level roles in a large organisation. So yeah, there's plenty of interest there. So I would then either connect with a brief message, or if I've got LinkedIn Premium, you can message them directly and say, hi, my name's Sue, I'm a IT network engineer, and I'd be interested in having a little chat with you about opportunities in the area. Can we make a time to chat? And then we'd go from there. So from there, that's doing it via LinkedIn. And the other one is via a Google advanced search. And so again, we just put in IT network, and maybe we'll put the word recruitment. And if we were looking for Melbourne, and then we go down to LinkedIn, and we would get results in Google search. And then some of them are ads and jobs and things that are not relevant. And then we would again do the same thing once we get to people's names. So seems like these are mostly for jobs. So you might want to do just IT recruitment or something like that. That might be a better query. So again, jobs. Yeah, that's obviously not the best query, I think, because it's bringing up all the IT companies. Here we go. Here's Farhan. So that's a person's profile. Now, the other thing I do while I'm looking for a particular job is I would connect with other people who've got the same type of job, because they might know someone who they could refer you to. But also, LinkedIn is a database. So the more people you're connected to in the same industry, the better that is for you, because it says, well, this merely must be a person who has these skills. Okay. Any other tips other than these 10? My goodness, this is a free webinar, remember. I'm happy to do a professional appointment with you, and we can go into specifics about your personal thing. If you don't have local experience, that's why I recommend voluntary work, which was one of the tips I suggested. As a migrant, your network here is quite small. That's right. So that's why you need to go out and about and meet people in person, because a lot of people favour people who have local Australian experience. So even if you are working in a pizza shop, that's still better, and you can pop that on your LinkedIn profile, because you're getting local Australian experience. And also you can consider doing some little micro credentials that are based in Australia through LinkedIn Learning. You can access those free of charge by getting a local library card. So you can do that, won't cost you anything. And then there's also meetup groups designed for people who are new to Melbourne. So you could definitely go to some of those events as well. Thank you. How can I know what is upcoming skills in your area? Well, you really need to speak to people in the industry, and also look at the publications that service that industry, because they'll quite often let you know. Sometimes they'll have guest speakers at events, and they will also indicate where the trends are. Some trends are provided by professional research companies, but they're normally only based on where there's a demand and who's going to pay for it. So we're not necessarily always going to know. So I always think it's better to go from a job into another job. So don't keep holding out for the ideal job. Get a job and then keep your job search up, and then wait until those new opportunities come, but don't plateau. So some people, they get comfortable in a job and then they don't go back to what they're really passionate about. So make sure that job for now remains a job for now. You don't sort of detract from your future career plans. The other thing is, on LinkedIn, there's a lot of thought leaders and influencers who are real specialists in their area of expertise. So if you can connect and follow their content, you'll sometimes see trends through that as well. Okay. Thank you for your time guiding us. Definitely give you a positive review. Thank you. I just want one Google review. That's my goal for today. It's about 10 hours of work to put this together, that I do for free. And as I said, I've done every month for 39 months. So I hope you get a lot of value out of this and all of the content on my sueellson.com website, as well as any of my books that you're welcome to grab as well. Any final questions? Anybody like to unmute and ask a question via voice? No? All a little bit shy today? QR code for feedback. Yes, sorry, will do. Let me share my screen again. I think I've closed the file, so I'll just open that up again. Go to the last page. There we go. Whoops. So that should be there. Oh, are we sharing the screen? Share screen. Okay, try that again. There we go. All good. Any final questions? All right. Well, I hope you've got lots of tips and tricks from there, and all the best for the rest of 2024 and the festive season, and very best wishes for your job search in 2025. And thank you, and bye for now.